Roger League. My name is Achilleos. With me is Sifa, and we are into the picks and bans for our second game of this best of five. It's Cloud9 Tempest versus Legendary C9T coming out on top with a win in the first game. As you can see, let's go ahead and dive straight in and take a look at what are coming out in these bans.
And actually, relatively the same pick and bans that we saw before. LeBlanc Thresh on the side of Legendary. Urgot Ziggs on the opposite side for Cloud9 Tempest. So even with bans in their own hands, it looks like they want to adopt a similar strategy. And I mean, no surprises there. You don't want to give Sheep that Thresh. You don't want to give Yusui that LeBlanc. So taking those both off is a totally reasonable thing overall, and definitely a smart ban strategy. Actually, the exact same bans, LeBlanc, Thresh, and Annie, but still on the blue side, though, so we'll have to see what this affects. And despite Impactful's impressive performance on a number of carries, I can't imagine that they will first pick the Callista here. So what Cloud9 bans is going to be the Callista. Well, then there you go. Now it's not even an option.
Yeah, smart by them to take that one away. Though, as we can see, we have literally every jungler has made it through. So we could see a repeat performance from Hecarim. We could see the Rek'Sai. We could see Gragas coming out here. Who knows? Maybe even the Evelynn, which we did see a little bit of yesterday. So there's a lot on the board for either of these teams to pick. But yet again, and I have to make note of it, the Rengar has made it through the ban phase. Acadian, please, I want to see this one come out on the top side. What have you got to lose other than literally everything and $500?
Yeah, other than challenger reputation, your pride as a solo Rengar. I mean, there's a lot of things on the line, obviously. It's a pretty intense set. And third, fourth isn't the biggest thing overall, but for Legendary, this relatively young lineup, they've already taken a game off Cloud9 Tempest in the past, not in this set, keep in mind. Cloud9 is up 1-0. If they can take a best of 5 set, nonetheless, off of Cloud9 Tempest, I mean, they will have proved themselves. They will, without a doubt, be one of the top challenger teams. And with NACS coming up, that's a pretty big thing to have. It's a pretty big thing to boast about, and qualifying for NACS is going to be one of the most important things for these teams. So getting a strong foothold, establishing a strong reputation, pretty important at this point in the season.
All right, yeah, so then Gragas gets grabbed up for Dez. You see the hover coming in a lot, maybe looking to get this server in the first round of picks. Could be a little bit interesting because, Lucian is on the board and he can punish that server pretty effectively early on. We've seen Impactful play it in the past, so might be the route that they want to go for. Meanwhile, a couple different champions being hovered over here. We'll see which one gets locked in. And it looks like we will see Sivir Alistar in the bot lane for Lod and Sheep.
And this is, of course, that engage option that Cloud9 loves to have. Lod, we've actually seen the Sivir banned against him a few times in the past, this time with Callista off the board and Urgot off the board as well, making sure that couldn't be secured on the side of Legendary. Defaulting to yet another comfort pick, and while this doesn't necessarily showcase Lod's individual play, it lets all of the other solo laners really show off on these team comps, because she can just push the on the hunt. It lets the rest of the team get in there, and already with that Alistar, you've got an engage option, you've got a disengage option, and it's looking pretty solid so far. Gragas first pick from Acadian, locking that one in for Dez. Gragas, without a doubt, one of the strongest junglers. We're going to have to see how Dez's Gragas play compares to that Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai, a lot easier time getting into those lanes, performing those early ganks. But Gragas, a lot more sustained damage throughout every stage of the game, a lot more teamfight presence, as Rek'Sai's ult, while it does offer map movement and mobility, isn't going to offer any AoE damage. So, yeah, interesting picks. Have a few more locked in. The team comps are developing pretty quickly.
All right, yeah, so we can see Bishu grabbing the Azir yet again, wants to go for that one. The Cassiopeia has made it through this time as well, so if Yusui wanted to, he could get a repeat performance on that one. Like we said, had a little bit of a rough start to begin with, was down quite significantly, like a 1-6 the first part of that game, but by the end, really brought it back with a 9-8 record. So he may want to go ahead and snatch that one up again, or maybe pick something that's a little bit more fitting with this, on the hunt, probably get that Righteous Glory pop, really in-your-face type composition that Cloud9 Tempest has started just with these first 2 picks. So we'll have to see clock running it down. Also have that jungler in top lane to look at. So we'll see what they want to do. Likely going to save that last pick for you. So no, maybe not. about to eat my words.
Well, we see Cloud9 lock in those next two picks. Let's take a brief look at this legendary comp and what they've assembled so far. So we have the all-in from the side of Cloud9. We see the Cassio locked in. We see the Hecarim. Both these champions, they want to be in that backline. They want to force these fights. Cassio is that sustained damage dealer that Cloud9 tends to need, but the Petrifying Gaze offers more engage on top of the On the Hunt, on top of the Onslaught of Shadows, and the devastating charge from Hecarim. But on the opposite side, we've got Nami, Tidal Wave, Bubble. Excellent disengaged champion. Gragas with that explosive cast can easily knock people out of a team fight, even individual members, if not a whole team. And now we've got the hover over here from Impactful, and we won't go into that one too much. But they've got all the tools to disengage. They just need damage, and they just need to make their way through the early game at this stage. So already, though, a much more balanced comp on the side of Legendary. On the opposite side for Cloud9, once again, this is the Cloud9 special. It's the AoE team fighting comp. It's so strong right now in the current meta, and Cloud9 executes it nearly flawlessly in every game we see them play it. We've got the Sivir on the Hunt. We've got the Ouster with the Unbreakable Will, tanky with even without having to build tank items. And now, interestingly enough, we have this flex pick Hecarim because it can go into the jungle for hard, or it can go to that top lane against Maokai, depending on how they want to do this.
Yeah, and that would be a decent matchup for them. So we saw how impactful it really was for hard last time in the jungle, so they may want to just go ahead and have a repeat performance of that one. We'll find out in just a second. I'm interested by this Tristana pickup for impactful, though, going into Sivir. There's a lot that you can eat with that spell shield. You have that time bomb. You have her ultimate with that buster shot. So there's just an immense amount, I feel like, that is set up for Lod to be able to just use the spell shield to negate, as long as he's able to do that effectively. Tristana did receive a buff in this patch to her time bomb. So, or the explosive charge, as it's called. She received a slight buff to that explosive charge, so it might have made her a little bit more of an effective AD carry, and maybe helps her scale a bit sooner. But, what we've seen in the past from her, we don't see too much because she hasn't been as strong as some of the other hyper-carrying AD carries, such as Jinx and Kalista.
And the big thing here about that pick is Jinx has received nerfs right now. Her Super Mega Death Rocket does a lot less damage, those close ranges. And those nerfs aren't major, and the buffs to Tristana aren't major either, but Tristana and Jinx do very, very similar things. They both take towers efficiently. They both team fight efficiently. They both have that mobility reset. So, I mean, really, it was just a slight difference between these two. And now, I'm not sure how they stack up, but Tristana may have an edge. It may serve a similar role. A little bit more reliable mobility, honestly, in the form of rocket jump, and having, I believe, is an increased cast speed on that explosive charge based on her attack speed. So, that skill normally pretty much unviable in team fights, honestly, just because the cast animation was so long that you would lose a lot of not only your DPS, but you would also leave yourself vulnerable to some of those more hard engaged champions. So that alone may have put Tristana up to be at that same level as Jinx, but we're going to have to see if this is something Impactful has really practiced and how this affects their team comp and their decision making, because this isn't something we've seen from Legendary yet, whereas on the opposite side for Cloud9, outside of the Hecarim jungle, they've run this comp a million times.
Yeah, and going back to it yet again, we just saw it excel for hard, so it's not even like it's a tough thing to really play that Hecarim jungle, so he should be able to have relatively easy success for it. So the Tristana is definitely going to be one to watch as we move into this game. Looks like we had a little bit of a trouble with the lobby, so we had to restart, so the picks are coming right back through, and we'll just finalize these rosters to make sure that everything is set so far. Everything looking as expected, so it should be, and it will be, that Gnar versus Maokai in the top side, Hecarim versus Gragas in the jungle, and Azir versus Cassiopeia to repeat in that mid. And then, of course...
And this is Morgana actually going to be the substitute picks there. Nami was, in fact, not the real pick there, so that was the proxy. So a little bit different, but still very similar to what it wants to do. You have Tristana's ultimate, that buster can push people back and knock them out of the fight. Bishu can do the same thing with the Emperor's Divide. You've got the disengage with Gragas on that cask. And so you've got the disengage team comp that has the late game scaling without a doubt on the side. Once again of Legendary and Cloud9, sticking to that. Early to mid game, solid scaling pretty much at every stage. Definitely not as strong as Legendary in the late game, but with the potential for that wombo combo. We've seen Yasui and Solo land one of the most beautiful combos I've ever seen. I mean, we saw the four-man Gnar or four-man Petrifying Gaze into a Gnar ultimate on Wednesday against the same exact team and nearly these same exact circumstances. And if they can pull it off again at 30, 35 minutes, 40, 45 minutes, you kill four people like that with just two cooldowns, you can do anything and everything you want. So
Yeah.
Legendary have to be careful here.
Yeah, but at the same time, we saw Yasui and how he played in that last game might be a weak point for Cloud9 Tempest this time around yet again. That Legendary wants to exploit. So we're gonna have to see where they're gonna pay their attention to. The rest of the lanes ought to be pretty safe in that regard. Of course, Tristana with the rocket jump, Morgana has those bindings and the black shields. So getting engages onto them should be tough for the side of Cloud9 Tempest. So I feel like they're going to be able to leave, that Legendary is going to be able to leave their lanes for the most part alone, and they're going to focus some attention onto Yasui and try to keep him down as much as possible because he did start scaling back into that last game. So they might just want to put that much more aggression into the mid side. We're going to have to find out what happens when we come back from a quick little break while we wait for these guys to load onto the Rift. In the meantime, make sure you guys take to Twitter, join the conversation, let us know what you think about this series and these picks and bans by using the hashtag ADCL. And as always, of course, go to wellplayed.org/giveaway to enter for your chance to win a Razer Chroma prize pack that includes mice, keyboards, headsets, etc. All you have to do is be following Team Razer on Twitter and as well as the AlphaDraft Challenger League. So make sure you guys go ahead and check that one out. My name is Achilleos. With me is Sifa. We'll be back in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Miles of fire, I'm losing ground, and in the flashing, my world comes crashing down. I'm left in nowhere, no place to hide, out in the open. Like ashes in the sky, I quit the illusion. I'm moving on. I let the flames light up the future, making empires of sound. And she when she's become laughter, you burn the bridges to build the city. I let the flames light up the future, making empires of sound. And she when she's become laughter, you burn the bridges to build the city. Jump! I let the flames light up the future, making empires of sound. And she when she's become laughter, you burn the bridges to build the city. I let the flames light up the future.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the AlphaDraft Challenger League. My name is Achilleos. With me is Sifa, and we're on to the Rift with our second game in this best-of-5 series. Legendary trying to tie the score with a 1-1. Cloud9 Tempest coming off a pretty dominant victory. Let's see who comes out on top of this one. Of course, on the blue side this game, it is Legendary. Acadian in the top on that Maokai. Desbone23 in the jungle with Gragas this time around. Bishu in mid, yet again rocking the Azir. Trying to have some success with that one. And then it's Impactful and Low Pally rounding out in the bot with Tristana Morgana.
Interesting bot lane for sure, but on the opposite side for Cloud9 Tempest, it is going to be solo in that top lane. Hard in the jungle with the Hecarim. Yasui making a repeat performance on that Cassio mid lane. Lot and Sheep mixing things up a bit with the Alistar and the Sivir. They're going to be on the hunt pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely going to be trying to get some early aggression and onto Impactful's Tristana. Especially before he's able to get that rocket jump, more than likely going to be starting with his explosive charge, maybe even the rapid fire. We'll have to see. There has been those slight changes to Trist, so I would imagine that the E would be the optimal pickup. And we have a pause! Alright.
So when we talk about this pause, already it looks like we're going to see what looks like standard lane matchup. So 2v2. We only saw this one time in the previous best of 3 set between Legendary and Cloud9 Tempest. And Cloud9 Tempest was actually able to come out ahead. And I like that they picked up the 2v2 matchup here. It is going to be difficult though for Cloud9 as a whole, because they're not going to be able to do a whole lot with this Alistar pick against a Morgana. However, you see them now positioned to start at the Gromp. Not sure if they'll give this one over to Hecarim or take it themselves, but if they pick it up and they get an early Alistar level 2, let me tell you, you only walk into lane where Alistar gets a fast level 2 once before you learn to play around that. Because when you get headbutt pulverized combo the first 15 seconds of a laning phase and immediately die, it's like your lane opponent saying, "Welcome to China, we kill people in the first 3 minutes," and it's absolutely terrifying. So we have to assume that they've played against this. Obviously, taking camps is very common in Season 5, but on the other hand, if they don't give enough respect to Sheep and Alad, this lane could be one-sided right off the bat if they don't see this coming.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, especially after that last game, Legendary is certainly going to have some respect for Lot and Sheep, who just had a crushing performance on Callista Bard. Of all things, they absolutely crushed it. Lod was unkillable for quite a long time. I think he ended up going like 7 kills before they took him down finally. And even then, I think he only died maybe once or twice by the end of the game. So had such a crushing performance. And, you know, the bot lane of Legendary is going to do everything that they can to make sure that that does not happen again. You know, they do have a fantastically scaling team with that Azir, with that Tristana. If they can get rolling early, maybe even secure themselves a first blood, that could help Legendary snowball this game so much in their favor and net themselves a victory.
And really for Impactful, even if they can't find that early advantage, as long as they don't fall too far behind, as long as they keep even, once again,
it's just a farm.
Their late game is on their side. They have this Tristana pick. She's got excellent scaling even with this new kit, especially with those quality of life buffs to that explosive charge. And like that Jinx, if she's ever left alone in a lane, which she wants to do, she wants to be left alone to farm, she can also take towers incredibly quickly. So
yeah,
should be fine to farm here. Should not be the most aggressive lane, but they do have to be careful for hard. They have to respect this Hecarim jungle. We saw him put down so much pressure, and we saw Smite ignite in the previous game. It's Smite TP this time around, so that Hecarim can be anywhere, and this is a unique pick and potentially easy for the side of Legendary to punish if they're smart about it. A Hecarim without flash can be vulnerable, but you know, if any character can take Smite TP, it's that Hecarim, and he can be, if he rushes early home guards, those are going to be some lethal ganks, and I don't know how anyone would deal with that.
Yeah, this is especially dangerous for the side of Legendary because they have to have that in the back of their minds constantly, thinking that there are in fact 2 teleports. So if they try to start for an early dragon, which they were able to do in the last game, I think they took it around the 6-minute mark, maybe a little bit before that or after that. Don't quite remember, but you know, if they try to do a play like that again, they have to be wary that, you know, I said a 3v2 situation could very easily go into a 4v3 against them if Solo and if Hard are able to get those teleports off. Fortunately, Acadian does have that Twisted Advance. He can stop the teleport from Solo, also has the Arcane Smash to displace, so he can play around that one, whereas Solo will not be able to stop teleports in lane unless he has Megadar. So that is a slight advantage for him as we get a little bit later in the game, that post-6 mark. But it's just so it's gonna be so risky for Legendary to make any plays unless they're absolutely certain that teleport is down and that there's no vision for Cloud9 Tempest.
And I mean, we're 5 minutes into a pause. Let's this is game 2. Not a whole lot on the line quite yet. Winning this series matters. Winning this game 2 is without a doubt important, but it's not the end of the world if Legendary drops a game. Similarly, if Cloud9 drops a game here, they have a lot of freedom to come back, to mix up their picks, to get a new strategy. Despite changing 2 picks, the Gnar and the Sivir, their overall team comp is relatively the same in what it wants to accomplish. Sivir with the On the Hunt accomplishes basically the same thing as the Bard was also on their team, as I forget Alistair was on the opposite side. The Sivir accomplishes basically the same thing with On the Hunt that Kalista does with Fate's Call, which is as far as hard engage options, makes it easier to team fight. Of course, Sivir a little bit more flexibility, a little bit less damage in that regard. So we'll have to see how that affects their strategy, but we've seen Lod play this, and it shouldn't be an issue for them. They should be able to execute pretty flawlessly here, in these team fights at least. Now, the early game, Cloud9 definitely has strong laners, but they have to be careful. We saw Yasui fall behind because of aggressive plays, and this team that Legendary has assembled, a lot better at punishing early to mid mistakes, unlike their last team where they really did just have to wait for late game scaling. This team has more mid game, more options, and if Bishu gets ahead in the mid game, or early game, it's very easy for them to come out with a win here.
Yeah, and like you were saying, if Cloud9 gives up a game, it's not the end of the world here, and it's not too huge of an acquisition for Legendary. You know, best of 5 series, they operate very much like Dragons do in game. Once you get beyond that third point, like that second dragon, like you want to stop them. That's why you say like, okay, that's, you know, this is too much. But if they take one of them, then it's not the biggest deal. But after that, you just kind of want to taper off, make sure they don't get any more. So we'll have to see what happens. Yet again, to go back over for you guys, if you're just joining us, Cloud9 Tempest currently up a game in this best of 5 set. Legendary looking to net their first victory and try to even the score and push us into at least 4 games. We'll have to see what's going to happen here with this one. The winner of this entire series moves on to take 3rd place in the AlphaDraft Challenger League. Loser takes 4th, and that's a difference of $500. $500 for 4th place, $1,000 for 3rd. So both of these teams really going to be vying for that prize. So there is a lot on the line here.
And while you may not be eligible for that prize money, you are eligible for our Razer Peripheral giveaway. Head on over to wellplayed.org/giveaway. In the meantime, all you need to do is follow AlphaDraft on Twitter, check out their Facebook. Do the same thing for Razer, and that's 4 entries already out of a potential 6. The last 2 you unlock after doing those first 4. So, quick way to get 6 entries into a raffle drawing for an amazing set of Chroma peripherals. Customize them to represent whatever team colors you love. Are you a fan of the ridiculous quantity of CLG drama? Change your keyboard to blue. Show your support for the never-ending TLDR twitlongers. You know, they're your peripherals. Do what you want. And really easy to sign up for, and, you know, why not? Random chance, win some peripherals.
Yeah, I mean, I entered. I want to win some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Why, you know, it's free Razer gear. Who doesn't want that?
All right, guys. I think we're going to cut it over to a quick break. We'll let some music. Never mind.
No, we're not.
All
no,
right,
we're not. All right.
We talked for 8 minutes. Probably talked for another 3.
We should have said that sooner. We should have just said like, oh, let's go to a break, and then they would have resumed the game for us. Just a mess. All right, whatever. Well, we're back into the game.
Yeah. So, fun fact about this Firefighter Tristana skin, for those of you who don't know, is actually banned in competitive play for having a beneficial auto attack animation. Of course, that's changed since the Tristana rework, but for a long time it wasn't actually legal in competitive games. So, interesting, random facts, little discrepancy between the skins. Obviously fixed now since the rework, but little Tristana skin history for you as we move into the standard 2v2 laning phase, and it looks like Maokai taking a camp before headed into that top side.
Well, Valley playing point for forward has to be careful from that binding not connecting. Look at all that damage just chipped right off of him from those autos, down to half HP. Gonna just have to sit back and munch on those biscuits of rejuvenation and try to keep himself into this lane. A solid start here.
And it looks like we didn't actually see the Gromp start from Lot and Sheep. They did just help out hard in that case, so they don't have the fast level 2. They will most likely get level 2 first, as we see it here. There's no Black Shield yet from Law Pally, but since they've had to push the lane forward to get that level 2, I don't think we will see the hard engage. Speaking of hard now on the top side, I hate when people's names stack up like that, but it just works so well. He's clearing out his own jungle, and for both these junglers, the big question is going to be where are they going to make their first plays. Gragas has shown in the past from Dez a lot of attention in this mid lane. That's kind of the legendary play style. Yasui likes the mid lane attention, but doesn't necessarily need it. He's pretty dominant in his own lanes.
Speaking of domination, look at all this damage coming out, already pulling the barrier off of Bishu, who's just nearly out of mana and can't fire back to answer that aggression that Yasui's throwing down, playing a much different game this time around, laying on the hurt, coming out on top of that one. Sand Soldier's still doing a bit of work onto Yasui, but he's in quite a good spot right there. If he's able to chain those Twin Fangs like that one more time, he has Ignite in his pocket, he should be able to find himself a kill.
The thing that I love about Yasui's playstyle
oh,
in
that's
mid
gonna
lane,
oh, no! Yasui getting caught out though. Flashes the wall too. And he goes down very nicely played. Desmond with that red buff, and Bishu able to secure the kill. First blood for the Azir. That's going to be a fantastic start for Legendary as they try to, you know, just get right into this game from the get-go.
And I was about to praise him for the way that he trades, the way that he bullies out of lane, he conserves mana, and all of that's still good, but you have to respect the Gragas jungle. We were asking if we were going to see the same level of early game impact from Dez that we saw on the Rek'Sai, and it looks like we're going to see even more. And that quick first kill for Bishu is going to be incredibly important. Extra pots will help him maintain that mana, and an extra cooldown reduction going to buff his damage output by a pretty significant margin. So excellent to see that early gank, and already Legendary finding a pretty solid advantage here.
Yeah, Solo trying to turn that one a little bit around on the top side as he puts some damage down onto Cadian with that Mega Gnar form. Not able to find too much though. Just harassing him out as much as he can. He's not going to find his major damage for a little while. Bishu, though, going into Yasui, tries to get out of that cloud of poison, but look at the damage coming through the Twin Fangs. He goes back with a flash, but Yasui, all the same, finding the solo kill. Hard was waiting in the wings, not even needed. Yasui getting that much of an edge back immediately. As you can see, going to be up in CS, especially after that kill. Very nicely played by him. Fairy Charm in pocket, going to go back and pick up that Tear of the Goddess.
Definitely the tier going to be important to consider here because Cassio just wants to stack that up. We saw absolutely in the past. Well, for Yasui, this Seraph's Embrace is crucial. It lets him play incredibly aggressive. It lets him move forward to find those, you know, those outplay situations. We saw it last game when he was so far ahead, how he just ripped through Legendary. And so getting the stacking early is crucial. And this is pretty standard for Cassio. Of course, it does mean a little bit of discrepancy here in the damage, balanced out mostly by that second Doran's Ring he's able to pick up. So once again, we'll have to see how this trading in the mid lane works. We'll have to see if Bishu's a little bit more confident in this matchup, but everyone across the map seems just determined to trade back and forth. In the top lane, though,
yeah, Dez gonna have to flash the wall to get out. They follow forward hard, going in, trying to get this kill. The damage coming through, but not gonna be able to get the kill quite just yet, but good harassment all the same. They burned out that major engagement tool, so no flash body slams gonna be coming out from the Fat Man in his next gank.
Definitely something important to consider since so many
Ooh, Sheep,
engages.
yep, gets that knock up. Lot gets caught out by that binding though. Should be just a little bit of trade back of abilities for the time being. Impactful going to do what he can to try to, you know, farm these minions underneath the tower. Has to be conscious of that passive off of his explosive charge and killing those minions. Lot eating that binding quite nicely with his spell shield, keeping himself up in mana in this lane. Boomerang Blade gonna rip off a little bit of Impactful's HP. We can see a very small lead developing for Lod, but it's one of those situations where you give him an inch and he takes a mile, so they're gonna have to try to counteract that, maybe get a gank from Dez down around that bot side quite soon to help, you know, thrust this Tristana forward.
Yeah, definitely. They need to find a way to snowball this Tristana pick, and I am pretty impressed, quite frankly, with the way that Impactful has been able to maintain that CS through the explosive shot. It's pretty difficult to do that. It requires some solid damage calculations. It implies some great experience.
Yasui, that Petrifying Ace is not going to connect. Dez showing up with perfect timing, great synergy coming in from the mid and junglers of Legendary. They net themselves another kill, so we're seeing a little bit of a repeat performance here as they target Yasui constantly. Sheep goes in, gets that headbutt pulverized. They're going to fire back with a little bit of damage. It's not too much though. Impactful not really in a spot to try to get through that brunt tankiness that this Alistar offers. But we'll go back and talk about that mid lane for a little bit here.
Well, mid lane, obviously just another great gank from Dez, repeatedly applying pressure there, and really, Cloud9 not able to get anything back elsewhere.
Oh yeah, again, jumping in, the explosive cast will knock Lot into the side, roll out the barrel, slowing him down, impactful. Can he get the kill? No, Dez will take it away. The leap forward, though, off the reset, does bait out the flash from Sheep. A very nice roam down. Dez starting to play quite well. 2 kills up on his Gragas. Gonna help him, really be dishing out more damage in these trades and assists now. Acquired for Tristana. Very nice pickup. Should help Impactful get a little bit of a CS lead and have a very nice first buy.
And that's some beautiful play coming in there from Dez, applying that gank, gets level 6, uses the explosive cast, picking up yet another kill. And Impactful was doing well to keep up in CS, and now has a small advantage for himself as he denies that creep wave into the turret. We wanted Tristana to get ahead, and assist is certainly going to help out here. You see them buying items, still relatively even on the bottom side of the map, but if they continue to grow that one, if they continue to grow that lead and put this Tristana ahead, they may find something, but something getting traded back.
Oh yeah, they're gonna find Dez here in the jungle, who does not have that flash available. He throws out the smite to try to get away, and he's actually gonna get out with his life, and Bishu throws out the Sand Soldier, tries to get a little bit of damage out, not gonna be able to find too much of that one, but wow, really surprised that Dez was able to walk out of that one with his life.
And of course, a lot of that is gonna be those Hecarim Rampage mana cost increases. We saw it hard with not any mana to really follow that one up, and just neither one of them really having the damage at this point to trade too effectively without those abilities. Hecarim, no real damage items to his name, whereas Gragas has pretty solid damage on his bases alone, and of course, able to get out of there. Good block on the body slam from Hard to keep Gragas in the fight for a little bit longer, but just not enough damage to keep that one going, and we'll have to see if they can find anything else back. Cloud9 clearly making moves to try to stay in this game. This gold lead, not too massive yet, but could blow up in an instant.
Yeah, it absolutely can. And a gold lead for the side of Legendary is pretty bad in general, just because of the scaling potential that you have from this Azir and this Tristana. As you can see, a little bit traded out as Sheep is just trying to harass as much as he possibly can, keep Low Pally down, who is on a bit of a disadvantage. That, of course, Morgana, if you guys have not read up on the patch notes, she did receive a slight nerf to her Tormented Soil, so Low Pally's poke not going to be as strong as it was in that last patch, and not going to be as effective as clearing out these waves. You can see it's barely chipping through those minions on the back line. Nice binding connects on the Sheep, though. That's a good way to pump out the damage. Explosive charge goes through. Takes off a little chunk. Despone coming forward, gets the explosive cask, the directed camera. Please God, go back to the top side where Solo is getting beaten down, but the dive now going on into the bot lane. Onslaught of Shadows in the top side. Solo may be able to walk out of this one, but no, the Sand Soldier over the wall, confirming the kill. Twisted Advance going on to Hard. Despone going back in, trying to save Acadian's life as he flashes away. Does not have a red buff to slow him out, but he's got plenty of damage, and Bishu's coming around the side. Do they want to dive this one? It doesn't look likely. Bishu sending the soldier to the wrong side. Not going to be able to find a kill, but he does find a pink on his way out. Good pickups, though, as they take down Solo on the top side of the map.
And Despone is just everywhere that he needs to be, finding yet another gank. Unfortunately, this time, trading a kill for a turret, and it means that Cloud9, despite losing in these kills, is actually going to find themselves ahead. A lot of that, the 20 CS lead built up by a lot. Just a second ago, we were looking at about a 5 lead in the favor of Impactful, but he's bullied out of lane. Now a lead against him. Bishu similarly suffering on the bottom side, and honestly, Acadian suffering as well. So Cloud9, just like last game, out farming to get a gold lead, and now getting a turret to put themselves even further ahead.
Yeah, and they're also looking to get a dragon on top of all of that, working it down to half HP, and there's not too much answer coming in from the side of Legendary thus far. Look, Valley playing around the side, gonna get that pink, but the dragon's gonna go over. Uncontested for Cloud9 Tempest, so very nice pickup there. Dez going in, gets that flash body slam on the Yasui, who's going to go down. Sand Soldier still in range, one more auto attack. No! Not going to be able to find it, but Dez has that explosive cask, chucks it out at the last second, confirms the kill. 3-0-2 on that Gragas. Wanted to give that one over to Bishu so badly, just unable to do so, but very good on him to confirm the kill all the same.
And this guy has just put Legendary on his back. Each of these players strong and confident in so many situations, but right now this is the Dez show. Wherever he goes, people seem to die. Now a 1k gold lead in the favor of Legendary, and I mean, keep your eyes on that minimap, keep your eyes on that Gragas, because this is the guy to watch. This is the guy making the plays, and he's already headed up into the top lane.
Yeah, well, the problem here, especially, you can see that yet again Yasui is the one that has all of the deaths on the team, just Two that are not his, the other one being Lod's on the bot side, and then Solo's in the top. So he's got 3 deaths of the 5 for his team, and he has not been warding defensively at all this entire time. And Dez being all over the place, him getting ganked, twice, multiple times prior, you would think that this is something that he would have picked up by now. So we could see still in his bags, no wards, does have that warding totem, but that's only going to help him out for so long. Those things don't last, that long. Just, what, 2 minutes? And that's it.
Yeah, well, definitely something they have to consider is the potential turnaround here. Dez, though, once again,
Dez coming back into the top side, but Hard is waiting in the wings. That Meganar ultimate coming through, as well as that onslaught of shadows. But here comes the low valley, has the soul shackles to lock down Solo. Will find the first kill with the boomerang, but Hard getting chunked out. Dezbone finding that kill, and it looks like it's just an inevitability as Solo will go down as well. Bisho joining the fray, trying to get this kill. The turret shot's coming through. Can he get it? Or is it Dez? No, it's Bishu gets it. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, Impactful getting dove on by Lod and Sheep with a very nice tower juggle. They take him down, taking advantage of that lack of low pally in the bot side, and gonna net themselves a tier 2 as well, bringing it to 2-1. Yusui, meanwhile, on the mid side, maybe in a bit of a bad spot. The Emperor survived, pushing him into the tower as he takes a couple of shots. Electrifying gaze, and Yusui's trying to out-damage Bishu. Can he do it? Bishu flashes away. He's got the ignite and the poison. But, wow, my god, I did not think it was going to be enough. The total biscuits of rejuvenation do keep him alive for the time being. So a very nice solo kill and outplay with that Emperor's Divide to find himself a kill onto Yusui in the mid side.
And Bishu now 4-1 and 2, absolutely dominating this mid lane. A lot more map presence as well, and rarely do we see Yusui fall so far behind. Nonetheless, 2 games consecutively, 1-4-0 now his score, having to build that as Abyssal Scepter to stay alive in this lane, and even that is not going to be enough, or may not be enough, as they move forward now as Azir's finished the Morellonomicon and the Sorcerer's Shoes. About a 1.1k gold advantage just there between those characters. So while the rest of the disparity is made up other places across the map, understand that if every other lane was even, we would see a gold lead solely based on how far Bishu is ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's just playing monstrously so far. And there was even times where he wasn't able to pick up the kills because Dez had to confirm, that not the last one, but the time before against Yusui in the mid lane, he had to confirm that with the explosive cask. So Bishu would be much further ahead if it didn't come down to that one. So he's just doing such a good job, of just taking advantage of this mid lane and controlling Yusui as much as possibly can. We can see Sheep going in onto Dez, however. Lots of damage being pumped out onto this Gragas, who has yet to die. Yusui, though, or Bishu rather, trying to fire back onto Yusui with these Sand Soldiers, just not quite able to get them in range. So will be a general disengage around this mid side.
Both these teams can team fight if they want to. Obviously, the big disadvantage that is kind of stacked against Legendary is they're even on gold, and most of their gold right now, honestly, is going to be in Dez. Bishu, of course, has a lot of it as well, but most of their advantage is present in their jungler. And Gragas, while he is strong, he's building pure tank, so a lot of those damages aren't going to manifest. More than anything, it's his levels that are giving him an advantage, and even that, a little bit tough to compare because Hecarim is actually ahead of him in levels and experience. So pretty even as far as team fights go, despite the massive difference in kills, and even then, it feels like it would still go in favor of Yusui's lineup as they have a much easier team comp to execute. Gnar, the only real variable there. Everyone else's hard engage is pretty easy to get off, especially with Sheep if he goes in first.
Yeah, we can see Cloud9 Tempest looking to push her advantage onto this mid tier 2. Sheep going in deep, gets a knock up as he knocks Bishu out. The Emperor's Divide does come out and try to keep him alive. Looks like he will for the time being. Sheep can confirm the kill. One more auto attack. He gets it, gets that shutdown, eating some power shots. Dezbone, though, has to body slam away from that boomerang blade. A lot of the nice flash over the wall to keep him safe away from Acadian, who just twisted advanced onto him. Meanwhile, that tower in the bot side has gone down. Cloud9 going to have to try to peel off of this one. Yusui with a very nice flash to try to drag Acadian into the team with the twisted advance teleport coming up from Solo as well. Meganar readily available. Low Valley taking so much damage. Solo gets knocked off the wall though from that buster shot thrown out by Impactful. Hard going deep. Can he get the kill? Looks like it's going to happen. He gets bound up though. Low Valley on the run. Body slam by Dezbone to try to knock him back as much as possible. But Dez quite low himself. That boulder not going to connect. He flashes over the wall. They should be relatively safe for the time being. But Cloud9 Tempest come out on top of that one and pick up another tower.
And that Morgana passive saving Law Pally's life, that little bit of spellvamp making the difference, a clutch binding from him, and absolutely performing in this game. 0-0-4, not necessarily what we consider a carrying stat line, even for support with 8 kills in the game, but gets the tower in the bot line, or bot side of the map, comes up, gets the binding, makes sure that there are no follow-up kills, almost goes down himself to protect Gragas, but doesn't. So they don't. Not only do they not give up that killing spree, they manage to keep a few members alive. Of course, Cloud9 on the opposite side, able to grab that dragon, steadily advancing this gold lead, and their team fight is looking better and better as Yusui may be pretty far behind, but Lod is looking stronger and stronger here.
Yeah, and we saw that Lod pretty much carried the last game on his back nearly entirely. Yusui, he carried it to a point where Yusui was able to get back into the game and actually net himself some kills. Looks like we do have a pause, though, so we can go ahead and take a brief recap of what has all happened in the last couple of minutes and take a look at these item builds.
Looks like we had a little bit of issues here, maybe a bug splat for one of the players. And looking at these item builds, I mean, for Yusui, this Abyssal Scepter not only is going to give him a decent amount of penetration, as he does tend to get closer in, more about kiting in those team fights. It's also going to give him some decent protection from a team that is mostly magic damage. Tristana really the only source of attack damage. Morgana, Azir, Gragas, Maokai. Despite the fact that they build tank, they do still do a lot of magic damage. So rare defensive early itemization from Yusui, but I like it against this lineup, and I think it's pretty clever. Bishu on the opposite side, taking the standard route, going to get that death cap. May opt to swap into Azanias if he wants a more defensive item, but can pretty much continue to avoid staff. He has defensive options built into his kit. He has the barrier. A little bit safer than Yusui, who picked up this Ignite. The jungle, where things get a little weird. Gragas, Brandwins, Sightstone, Cinderhulk. This is expected. Hecarim, probably going into the Trinity Force. It does make sense. The early home guards make sense as well, but...
He did it last time.
Yeah, and it just feels like top lane Hecarim to me, and it hasn't really shown up yet. Like, we're waiting for this Hecarim to hit that Trinity Force power spike, and it's just not there yet. And he has Smite as a jungler, but it's not challenging Smite.
Oh, biting onto Yusui yet again. The Petrifying Gaze is not going to connect. Bishu with a great juke back to avoid that one, and he takes him down off the backside of that binding from Low Valley. Very nicely played and good micro by Bishu to avoid getting slowed out or even stunned out by that Petrifying Gaze.
And you said it, just a slight step backwards, turns around, takes a step back, totally juking out the Petrifying Gaze and getting that kill. That was basically a solo kill, quite frankly, and just styling on Yusui a little bit there. Already had the advantage, more than happy to build that one up a little bit more. And, you know, despite all this, it really feels like Legendary are so far ahead, but the gold actually still in the favor of Cloud9. Farm difference starting to grow on the top side of the map, and the 4 turrets. It's just, you know, Legendary has to stop hemorrhaging objectives here. They're just not stopping. They're getting so many kills, they're making so many plays, but, I mean, this is not a game about kills. This is a game about towers. This is a game about the Nexus, and if they keep giving up these global objectives, they're going to lose out in a big way.
Yeah, and Cloud9 Tempest are, kind of prepping themselves around this top side of the map, have that wave crashing forward into the tower. Wards starting to come up. Baron has spawned, and honestly, Cloud9 Tempest could probably go ahead and take it off the backside of a pick. Bishu, really the only member that they have to fear outside of the Smite steal by Dez. So if they get a pick onto him or Dez, they may be willing to go ahead and start this one up. Dragon's not going to be up for a couple more minutes, so that is not a worry in their minds. You see Cloud9 Tempest just roaming around the map, pretty much completely in their control at this given point in the game. The Hard maybe looking to aggress. Nope, just going to go ahead and clear out those minions.
I want to back off here. Definitely the big thing about this lineup from the side of Legendary, like most of these more late game scaling compositions, more of these dual threat carry focused compositions with the Tristana and Azir, is that they really want to fight in a lane. They don't want to fight in the jungle. They don't want to fight where they can get pinched.
Ooh,
quick
solo.
flash, quick soul shackles going down there as well. They want open space. They need to be able to push people away. They need to be able to disengage. They need to be able to kite or chase. But these hard 5v5 engages are not going to go in their favor.
Well, they're going to try to get an engage onto Yusui, knock him back. They do find it. There's a defense to lock him in. Petrifying Gaze comes across, but to no avail. Acadian picking up that kill. Very nice aggression coming in from Legendary, but the question is, are they able to do anything with that pick? We've seen Yusui, he's 1-6 at this point, 21 minutes into this game. Killing him is not necessarily that much of an advantage for Legendary. So the question is, like, can they do anything with this? With these remaining members of Cloud9 Tempest still standing strong, And the answer, I'm afraid to say, is looking like it's no. They put up the sand tower, but look at Low Valley just getting chunked down. That boomerang barely missing him. But Solo's just sitting on the sidelines, chunking him down as much as he possibly can.
And I mean, it's just so dead even right now. 1K gold lead at 21 minutes, nearly meaningless, and so many towers on the side of Cloud9, but so many kills on the side of Legendary. And we really haven't seen a major team fight yet in a long time. We may see an engage here. Looks like just kind of a tank fight. These guys are just going to slap each other a little bit. Not too much going to come from this, at least at this point. We're just waiting for that big team fight is pretty much what's happening. Both teams, I feel like, are happy to wait for a little bit longer. They want Yasui to get back in this game. They want him to scale up. And on the opposite side for Legendary, they're happy to wait for this Azir to hit a more powerful point in the game, as well as this Tristana. So a lot of kind of patience on both sides. Little picks here and there, little objective taking, but no real major fights, no real major objectives. The inhibitor line has not been broken. There's been no Barons, no massive Dragon advantage quite yet. 2 is not a huge number. But we're just waiting for it. I mean, at any point, one of these teams can go in, one of these teams can force a fight, and we will have the game turn in an instant.
Yeah, there's certainly that amount of lockdown coming in for Legendary that they could utilize to turn the fight in their favor. You can see Cadian going in onto Solo in the stop side of the map, trying to get some good damage down. Dez coming around the backside, but look at this damage that Solo is able to throw down. Twisted Fans does connect, really trying to lock him up. The vengeful Maelstrom has been popped, and Solo nowhere near this Mega Gnar. And here comes Impactful to pick up the kill. Looks like they're going to give it over to him. He goes ahead and snatches his first of the game. That's one way to get the Tristana rolling. That could really help Legendary out as they move forward into the rest of this game.
C9 now have a decent advantage on the bottom side of the map if they want to press for this Dragon, though. The TP from Maokai is available, but there's not really any vision or any defensive control of this Dragon area. Of course, the Scuttle Crab has been taken for Legendary, so they do have a small amount of vision. The Maokai TP coming in. Cloud9 could actually get caught out here. This is a 4v5. See if they want to engage this.
Oh, Bishu going over the wall. The Emperor tried to knock out Sheep, but he's got that ultimate pop that he kicks Low Valley straight back, who gets decimated by Hard. Acadian from the backside trying to stave off Yasui, but he's just throwing out the damage to the teleport. He's coming in now from Solo, who's going to try to get into this Mega Gnar as quickly as he possibly can. Acadian still on the run. Hard hounding him down. Lod looks like he may get this kill. Now it's going to go over to Hard all the same. Meanwhile, back down here, we have a general disengage from the rest of Legendary, unable to find themselves a kill, even on the Sheep, who, got knocked back by the Emperor's Divide. Nothing going to come of that one. That rank 1 bomb not getting stacked up at all by Impactful. Not going to do anything to Yasui. We can see this is Cloud9 Tempest starting up the Baron.
And this is the big thing about dropping kills to a Casio comp at any point after the 20-minute mark, is that she can do so much damage to Baron. Of course, in this case, though, Yasui going to focus on keeping the members of Legendary away. We may see another engage, though.
Oh, they engage onto Yasui as he gets knocked up by Sheep. Impactful coming in, but he gets hit by the Petrifying Gaze, and the damage is just being thrown down. Yasui finding that kill as Cloud9 Tempest finishing off that Baron. Dez still going deep, trying to lock down Sheep, but finding not going to connect, but Yasui still waiting around the wall. Can he finish him off with the Drunken Rage? It's not going to happen. They knock him up in the air. He goes down. Sheep finding that kill. I believe almost off his passive, and now Bishu in such a bad spot. Hard gets bound up. The Tormented Soil has come down, but he is just one rampage away from falling. You can see he actually didn't even go for the Trinity Force. He went straight from a Black Cleaver this time around. Finding, connecting yet again. Hard not going to be able to find a kill, but all the same, Cloud9 Tempest in complete control of this game after that last fight.
And just dominance once again. 5K, as you said. Such a massive lead, only 25 minutes into this game, and Cloud9 instantly turned it around. They've been ahead just by a little bit the whole game, and now they're pushing it in. They get the Baron. They're going to be able to get the Dragon as well, and Cloud9 on the road to 2-0 at this point in the game. Of course, unlike last game, though, I don't think Legendary is fighting an uphill battle. They are still doing reasonably well. 5K is large. It's substantial, but they have a way back in. They have this Azir pick. They have Tristana. They have the necessary tools to get a pick with Morgana and that Dark Binding. And the question is, can they execute? They don't really have the best vision control right now. Despite having a Gragas with Sightstone, despite having Morgana with the Sightstone as well, they just haven't been using it too well. We could see them even here, though.
It's going to be a way to turn it around. Gideon has that black shield. The slow comes out from the Righteous Glory. Can he get the lockdown? Not going to happen. This gets headbutted out by Sheep. So just too long of a gap for the follow-up to not come through on the side of Legendary. Yasui walks out with just about all of his HP, gets knocked into the wall though, so I might have to eat my words as they take him down here. But no, they fire back, and Pac-Man will finish him off hard, being taken quite low. Bishu on the backside, probably going to have to back out of this one now. Lod with on the hunt pop, just running around. Sheep goes in and gets a huge knock up. The boomerang blade just ripping through HP, but Bishu goes back in. Can he get the kill on the Lod? Dismount playing so far forward as Lod finishes him off, but there it is. Impactful gets the shutdown and the double buff's going to have to run away from Sheep though. You can see that explosive cast does connect. He goes in, gets the headbutt. Can he finish him off? It's not going to happen. It's a double kill going over to the Tristana, and Legendary blows this game wide open yet again, trading right back forward in a 4-for-1 exchange.
And that right there was actually a beautiful display from Legendary. So when you talk about that initial Dark Binding landing and Yasui's fast to get out of there, that's all Sheep. That's the quick Mikhail's Crucible, instant response time, making sure Yasui couldn't get picked. Yasui forced backwards, but Righteous Glory used. They find the engage again, and this time Cassio has no way out of that lockdown. She doesn't take a cleanse herself. She doesn't take a heal either. So really her ability to get out of those situations, especially without Flash and without the Mikhails, is limited. So despite landing a Petrifying Gaze, it was too little too late. And Bishu, impactful, and the rest of the team showing up, doing the damage necessary to come out on top in that exchange. But once again, just kills. No extra towers gained. So while they've minimized the gold lead, it's only about 3K now as opposed to the 5K earlier. They still have not found any more map control or any more major objectives.
Yeah, and with Dragon getting ready to come up in the coming minutes here, that's going to have to be a major point of contention for Legendary if they want to come out on top of this game, because one more Dragon going over to Cloud9 Tempest puts them in 4 buffs, and they're just one away from the aspect of the Dragon, which is just going to spell disaster for them. So you'd be damn sure when this Dragon's getting ready to come up, we're going to see tons of vision war coming out from both sides as they try to establish control. And if Cloud9 Tempest, even, you know, they're playing from the red side, they have that innate advantage of being able to pull the Dragon out of the pit. It's still going to be very difficult because, you know, we're going to have that all-in engage from Legendary. That becomes a point of desperation. We'll likely see Dez try to go in and get the steal. We saw Alberto do it twice last night, taking away 2 Barons throughout that best-of-3 series. So I believe he was playing Gragas on the 1, so we're going to see if Dez will be able to do just the same if it comes down to it.
The big thing here, of course, with that Dragon buff is it's the one thing that's going to keep Cloud9 in this game, regardless of scaling, no matter what. They can hit the Dragon. We haven't seen the engage here, though.
Engage, yeah, hard going in. Low Pally already down to half HP, gets knocked up by Sheep. He will fall hard. Finding that kill, Sheep playing on the backside. Empress Divine just to stop this onslaught. Now the teleport coming out from Mechanius and tries to terrorize the backside of Cloud9 Tempest, but the question is, can he even get there? Gets on a lot, but he stops it with the spell shield. Hard still playing so far forward. Sheep Flash King trying to get that tries to get the Pulverize, not able to do so. He's taking down quite low. The Triumphant Roar will keep him alive, but Bishu coming out, gets himself a kill onto Yasui as a trade onto Acadian. Now hard, getting knocked away, being taken quite low. Impactful comes in, gets that last auto attack for the kill confirmed, and now Solo on the sidelines has to hop out of this one, but here comes Impactful, and that explosive cast will actually knock him very slightly away, so he should be safe for the time being. You can see just using that boomerang to slow out. Impactful getting hit on the backswing, not going to get in range here. So Solo doing a good job of escaping, but yet again, what was that? A 3-for-1 exchange in favor of Legendary. Just coming out on top yet again in these fights, but still not going to be able to capitalize on any type of objective. The Dragon not up for another minute and 20 seconds. The top tower, no one nearby to try to push that one in, and these tier 2s are just slightly out of grasp.
Here we see Law Pally doing what he can with this small advantage. He will be putting down some vision around this Baron pit, making sure that they have vision control of the area so that when Baron comes up, they can take it themselves or contest it. And this is the thing I like about Law Pally. He's unique on his team. He's one of the few players that does this. Actually, one of the few players in Challenger scene who capitalizes on these small advantages. Will get the ward vision down, the deep wards, the smaller objectives, when he has an advantage. When they take a team fight, if they can't take a tower, he will get vision, and vision is so crucial for a team like this where fighting on your terms is the definitive point. When you fight the way you want to fight, like we saw in the previous engage, they will win every time. They have the team to execute there, but if they get caught, if they're split, if they're caught by a flank, it is easy for Cloud9 to rip through this lineup.
Yeah, Despone in a bad spot here, Solo. Starting to throw down the damage almost in that Mega Gnar. Low Pally as well, getting spotted out. Good ward coverage coming in for Cloud9 Tempest. Solo finishing off that pink ward. And Hard, maybe looking to engage Onslaught of Shadows, is ready to be prepped, but not going to be able to find anything here. Boulder coming out as Solo does get into that Mega Gnar form. This could be the time for Legendary Engage as Solo comes out of that and goes back into Mini Gnar. But I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find the picks. The Explosive Cask is up. Dez might be able to, segregate one of the members of Cloud9 Tempest for them to melt down, but still just not a good spot for Legendary to be in. Looks like they will be able to establish their first dragon of the game. Acadian finishing that one out. Good pickup for them, preventing that fourth dragon from coming in on the side of Cloud9 Tempest. So good acquisition for now. You can see it's really just a lot of people stepping around carefully. Yasui gets knocked away by the Explosive Cast. That could upset the entire engage for Legendary. Acadian popping that Maelstrom, goes in onto Hard. He's already down to half HP. This could be an engage that Legendary have wanted this entire time. Now Solo going over the wall for the Buster Shot. Bishu comes in with a huge Emperor Divide, knocking them all into one spot. Yasui down to literally no HP as he gets taken out here by Impactful, who's being burned down himself. Vlad still alive, throwing out as much damage as he possibly can, but he's getting locked up by Acadian and by Despone. He will fall. Acadian finding that kill, but a huge knockup by Sheep shuts down Impactful. It's a 3 for 3 so far, but it looks like Cloud9 Tempest are going to come out on top as they go 4 for 3, and now Despone, the only person alive, going to get hounded down by Hard, who is back in the fray at full HP. That teleport doing so much for Cloud9 Tempest. They will finish him out. He gives up hope, and he goes down. Cloud9 Tempest with the ace, only losing 3 members in the exchange.
Once again, the gold lead grows to 5K, 4 turrets, 3 dragons as well. They do give up the dragon in that exchange, so the AD and AP buff will go over on the opposite side. Not the most important one in the game, especially as we will see this Baron drop in the favor of Cloud9 shortly. Bishu on the way, wants to contest this one, but if Cloud9 manage to get this, which it looks like they may be able to, they are dropping quite low on it, they will be able to turn this game back around in their favor, although it looks like they do actually have to back off. They do not quite have the damage to do it as the TP from Maokai comes in.
Yeah, they also had that looming threat of Bishu spotted him out in the jungle as he roamed toward that Baron, but have to peel off. So for the time being, Legendary not going to have to deal with that point of contention and, that loss of a Baron buff, but my God, still such a huge turnaround fight for Cloud9 Tempest. That starting off, that looked so good for Legendary. Impactful was starting to rip through. You can see he's now 6-4 and 6 on that Tristana, starting to do work, but just not enough to carry. Placement still ever so slightly off. And Hard coming up so hugely on this hack room. He had a much slower start this time around, but coming into the game now in this, in the latter half, really starting to do work. That Black Cleaver Frozen Heart build doing wonders for him in his sustain and his damage output.
And I really like the double Black Cleaver build. It lets them kind of keep up with their opponents to sustain team fights no matter what. But we see
Hard going
here.
on to Bishu, yeah, Smite already getting burned out. Hard down to half HP. Katie on the backside as he gets popped up in the air by Sheep. Now Hard looks like he might be the focus point. No, but we go on to Yasui as Bishu finishes him off. He will fall, however, to those poisons that are left over. Acadian getting chunked down as he goes on the lot on the backside, trying to finish him off. Lot taking a huge amount of damage from Impactful. Looks like he will go down, but Solo with a very nice Mega Gnar ultimate, turning this fight on its head. Impactful doing what he can on the backside, trying to get some kills. Sheep gets bound up. He will fall. Cloak Valley not going to go down. It's a triple kill now for Dez as he goes on to Solo, the last living member of Cloud9 Tempest. They're just trading back and forth over and over again. Impactful doing so much in these extended fights. Solo doing what he can to stop this wave from crashing in onto the tier 2 tower, but I don't know what he's going to be able to do. It looks like the majority of the reigning members of Legendary here are gonna have to peel off. So yet again, winning a fight, but just not able to garner any kind of objectives off the backside of these victories.
Yeah, and once again, the fight without objectives at the backside, they are mitigating a lot of the gold difference here. They are using their comp very well, and if it bolsters their confidence, all the more power to them. But without any major objective being taken, these fights have little to no implication. The teams, honestly, scaling pretty evenly at this stage. Hard, with the Smite, not the challenging Smite, isn't going to have the biggest impact. I don't know if we'll see him transition that moving forward, but this double Black Cleaver build means Lod hits like a truck in the fights, and we finally saw Impactful find a way into the backline. Was able to pick that one up. and turned the fight, quite frankly, on his own, as Solo was a little late with that Gnar ultimate, not able to find Mega Gnar soon enough. So a little bit of misexecution from Cloud9, but in theory, their team comp can still obliterate Legendary's lineup, and Legendary, you saw him play the team fight their way, forced the engage on their terms, and were able to get the fight that they wanted. Big question about this is going to be the Baron, is going to be who breaks the inhibitor line first, because that is the first major advantage that should be easy for either of these teams to snowball.
Yeah, and that team fight was really, the victory there came out of Impactful just being able to sit on the backside for the longest time and just lay out the damage. This is what Tristana excels at so much. And we're just going to have to see that much more focus from the side of Cloud9 Tempest, getting onto that backline, shutting down Impactful, and keeping him isolated away from the carries of C9T. So we're going to have to see if that one's able to unfold. You can see Solo playing quite far forward now in the bot side, trying to add some pressure in onto this inhibitor turret in the bot lane. Acadian has gone down to Answer, who does not, he doesn't have his teleport right now. Solo hanging on to his. So, if a team fight breaks out in this mid side, this will still be Cloud9 Tempest, their fight to take.
And really, I mean, it is all about Baron buff. Both teams have so much wave clear that they need to win a fight or get a legitimate advantage via the Baron buff, via the 5th dragon, and in that regard, Cloud9 has a pretty massive advantage. They have 3 dragons, they're working towards the 5th. If they can secure the next one, it's going to make taking Baron that much easier. It's going to make taking the 5th dragon that much easier as well, and it's going to force Legendary to fight for every dragon after that. But at this stage, they don't really have a solution. You see them slow sieging down the mid lane, but they're vulnerable to a flank here. They do ping off that Gnar, though, so they should be at least safe for now. Yasui taking a lot of damage. I don't know if they're going to be able to push this one in, though. Laud now just taking his place, just as eager to clear the waves, will be able to do so just as easily.
Yeah, not going to be able to find that opening that they wanted onto the tower. Of course, the tower pushing prowess is really there. They have the Tristana who has the explosive charges. They have the Azir who can, sack those Sand Soldiers to really burn through them. So that tower pushing power is there for them. We can see the Baron has been started. Who's going to get it? It's going to be hard as he steals it away. Cloud9 Tempest picking out that one out cheap from the backside. Going to knock out Bijou as best as he can, but he has to disengage. Now Dez going to be the focus as he goes down the first casualty so far. Lot finding that one. Now Hard finding Acadian as well. Bijou getting knocked straight into the middle of Hard as he goes in with those rampages, taking him down. It's a double kill going over to Lot as they just rip through the members of Legendary. 3 for 1. Cloud9 Tempest off the backside of that steal, coming up huge.
Can anybody just ever secure a Baron in AlphaDraft?
I don't know, apparently not.
Yesterday, we got another steal today, and it just seems like, I mean, Hard, keep in mind, did have the level advantage there. Level 18 to Gragas is level 16, so relatively easy for him to smite that one out. And honestly, a huge misstep from Legendary to do this, and we wanted a turning point. We wanted to see a major objective go down, to have one of these teams have a major advantage. Well, right now, that team, Cloud9, they're pushing in here.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and pick that one up. Impactful has picked up that kill on to Sheep, but look at Yasui playing so far forward. Can Impactful get a kill? I don't think it's going to happen. It's not. Lot takes him down. Meanwhile, 4th Dragon goes over to Cloud9 Tempest. It's 50 seconds on Impactful, 44 on Low Valley. As they try to push in here, Yasui gets grabbed up by that twisted advance. Looks like he will go down the explosive gas on the backside. Now Bijou trying to do what he can, but it's not going to be too much. The onslaught of shadows coming in hard, taking down Acadian. They're going to try to find Dez. Solo gonna worry about that one as the rest of Cloud9 Tempest goes straight onto these Nexus towers. The first one down, the second one is gonna follow suit, and that's Cloud9 Tempest taking away the game 2 here in this best of 5 series. One more win to take 3rd place and net themselves $1,000 in cash prizes.
And we approached that point in the game where one major team fight would turn everything, and it did, and I thought it would just result in that broken inhibitor, but Legendary overstaying their welcome, dropping a few more kills, and of course Yasui with some beautiful plays there to secure his team the win, despite the rather lackluster scoreline for 11 and 12. Still is able to make an impact in the end, and a good game from Cloud9, but not as clean as their previous game, and they're slowly starting to lose their footing here, so they're going to have to be careful. If Legendary can take it up one more notch, can figure out one more thing to do better, maybe figure out some better pick ban strategies, they may be able to come back and swing this one. It would not be the first time we've seen a reverse sweep. On the other hand, Cloud9, at this point, if they can keep executing the strategy as well as they have, shouldn't have too much to worry about.
Yeah, really just solid play from the whole there of Cloud9 Tempest. Want to see how they're going to approach this last game. Like you said, losing a little bit of their footing compared to the first game. Yasui with a little bit of a repeat performance, 4-11 and 12, just not looking strong in that mid side, and they need him to perform to have that really these really solid games. He did much better in the first game than he did this time around, and that was from Legendary really acknowledging him as a weakness. So gonna have to see if he's gonna